So,
welcome everyone. Today is another one of in a series of It's in Your Hands. Your comfort is in your hands. And today we're talking about the situation we're all in. The coronavirus has made a lot of us have to make changes by force. Suddenly, we've had to change our ways of life. There's a lot of stuff that's totally out of our control, but there are stuff that is in our control. So today I have with me Ms. Rania Laing, who is the president of the International Coaching Federation. She is the founder of Purposeful Innovators. She is also a neurocoach and a writer and artist. And more than that, she's a really, really good friend. Welcome, Rania.
thank you, Myrette. It's really good to be here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And as I just started, everybody right now is going through changes. We've been forced into changing our way of life. Some of us are very stressed, are very scared, fearful. Some of us are overwhelmed because things have, like maybe we have the husband, we ourselves are working from home. Maybe we're trying to study for the kids or teach the kids. We're doing the schooling. There's just a lot of stuff and it all came very suddenly. So with your expertise in helping people change their ways of life and empowering people, can you offer us some help?
Well, yes, and it will be my pleasure to do so. Thank you very much, Myrette. I think the situation we are in now is something that, first of all, we never would have dreamt of in our lifetime. This is a kind of situation that would have happened in history, the kind of wartime situation, and the stress that that goes on from times that are of great pressure, lack of control, fear, and is absolutely overwhelming. It's a lot on. There's a lot of changes happening. There's a lot of things for us to get used to, and it's changing every single day. So by the time we come to terms with one thing, it actually keeps changing. And there's the idea that there's the unknown fear out there. We don't know who's going to be affected next. There's stories that we're hearing over the news. So there's a lot of things that are surrounding us in every single direction. Now, it's very easy to be affected by the news stories and these unknown fears. And if you like, fear is one of the things I always say to my clients. Fear is the false evidence appearing real, that we start creating storylines in our minds. And this is really difficult to come to terms with because there's always a worst case scenario story that may take place. And our imaginations go to the information that we're given through the media and through our friends and relatives that want to help us. Now, there is a story that's happening out there, but in our situation, what most people are looking to do is actually take control. And this can be positive and negative. The negative effects of taking control are things like panic. We're seeing panic buying in countries. We're seeing panic routines, the complete sanitization routines that you can't breathe from the amount of rigmarole that you're meant to take. And it's very, very difficult to understand the science of what we're meant to do when we're actually dealing with our everyday life. One of the things that we know is happening to everybody over the globe. So there is a collective way that we can actually learn to start dealing with it. And the best way to start to learn to deal with anything is actually start realizing that you need to learn out of this situation. So to strip everything back, there's one thing that you can be digesting social media posts, news posts continuously throughout the day, or you can actually start learning how to do things in a different way.
Okay, and let's stop there and just get this more clear for our listeners. So you're saying there's a lot of fear, there's overwhelm, there's a lot of other emotions probably in there too, stress. And you're saying maybe we need to see what we're supposed to learn at this point. Is that a way to turn it around a bit?
I think it's not what we're supposed to learn as such, because we are dealing with a very complex situation. And I think, I mean, for many of us, the last time we dealt with such complexity was probably when we gave birth to our first child. So it's that situation that we don't know what the future is holding. We seem to have a lot of responsibilities, from homeschooling, managing the emotions of the family, managing the anxieties of young children, needing to deliver our work, and everything happening all in the same time within the confines of our homes. So there's no space for any of us to actually figure out how we feel about things.
Yes.
So just realizing we can learn from this situation.
Yes, I understand that, but I'm coming back to your example of having a child. At least there's a previous learning from other generations, so we can go back to someone and maybe learn from them or ask and be reassured maybe. But at this situation, I'm seeing that it's totally new for a lot of people. As you're saying, none of us ever dreamt we would all be housebound. It feels like you're, sort of like imprisoned to some extent, but in your own home. It wasn't on our mind. So being a neurocoach, and I know you've studied a lot of things about the mind. I know you have a lot of other tools. What do you think? How do we change this actually? And as you keep saying about the learning, and to navigate this learning, because we're having to learn as we do it. It's not like we have a history. We can go to our parents and say, what do we do now? So if you can help us out a bit, like how can we change that?
So I think when I was referencing having a child, is that for many professional women these days, it's very difficult. They don't have the support that you would say going to previous generations, because they probably would have been working. And when you are used to a corporate environment, from the social activities that you have corporate, if it's a positive environment you have at work, and then suddenly you're at home looking after a newborn, it's a major, major shock that I see a lot with my professional clients. And it's that realization that there's no going back now. So we have what I explain to people often. Our minds work that you can approach a challenge, a change, a sudden shock or change, by realizing that actually when you're fighting the change, it's as if there's a cloud around you, and you're actually trying to fight a cloud, which is very intangible, keeps moving, shape shifts, and is constantly there, shifting and moving and changing the environment that you're in. You can't ever fight that cloud. It's impossible. Understanding that actually what your mind needs isn't the cloud that is your stress and anxiety and the stories. It's actually to understand the long-sightedness of any given situation. And that long-sightedness is a positive place. Knowing that through learning that there's things that can take place that are positive, that are healthy, even when you're dealing with an immediate stressful situation, can start helping your mind think more optimistically and trust that the future will come out positive, healthy, and collectively what this situation is teaching us is all about compassion and humanity. We've got lessons there, I think, globally with how we're dealing with this.
I like the idea of this trying to fight a cloud, which is pretty much impossible. So, and I'm asking now, so are you saying that if we have a lot of resistance to the change and are not flexible and moving as it moves, we will be more stressed? And one of the things is to understand it is a very moving situation, and we're just going to manage it and maneuver it as it comes. Is that what you're saying? Have more resilience and to have more flexibility so that we can calm the stress? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Absolutely. So one thing about the brain, Myrette, is that it doesn't actually process negativity. So what it does feel is more out of control, and it wants more control. However, if we recognize that the cloud is there, and we start learning how to learn. Now, a lot of people have been on autopilot for so long. I was, when I was before I started working for myself, I was cruising. And I didn't know how I would deal with things in a positive way where I would learn. Our brains like new information, new positive information. We like to, we get a buzz when our minds are challenged with new information, new skills, and new ways of doing things. So in this situation, we actually have a huge opportunity, supported by technology, to be able to start learning new things that empower us and our families and enable us to help our children through what we're facing right now.
So this is your advice now for people to at least learn something new. This can help them release the stress, maybe the overwhelm, even amongst all the changes, and they have maybe they have more responsibilities right now because of the things happening in the home. Maybe people are sanitizing, they're taking care of their kids, they're teaching their kids. I don't know, there's lots going on that's different. But you're saying by challenging or engaging our brain more, maybe this will release the stress? Is that one tip you're giving us, or what?
It will enable us to actually create new connections within the brain that are positive connections. So it will put the stress into more context and enable us to imagine a positive outcome, that this isn't the end of the world, that we're not fighting or trying to fight this immediate challenging situation, but there's a positive challenge that is coming out of it. For example, one of the things that we have been monitoring is how many resources there are online that enable people to be mentally and healthily fitter in the comfort of their home. And we are seeing now the benefits of the global community, that there are now live streamings of exercises that you can do with your children, for example. Now, we can choose to start adopting new, healthier routines as we are with our family. We can choose to sit down and eat together. We can choose to have some fun. That's a choice that we make. We can also choose to sit on social media or on the news channels watching the drama of negativity happen. So there's a personal choice here of where you direct your mind and what information, be it healthy or not so healthy, you choose to take in to feed your mental state.
This is amazing, and this is profound, which is what you just explained about how the mind works and how we can, what I say is like, instead of letting it think of all the stressors and the catastrophe that's going to happen, maybe turn it around into looking to something else and see something positive. We've also added that maybe it's time to learn new habits, new routines. Like you said, maybe we choose to eat more with our children. Maybe we choose to learn something. Maybe we choose a healthier way of life. It's time to also to reflect, I believe. Like we have time to reflect on what's going on and how would we like to spend the rest of our life. So this is really helpful. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we end our interview?
I think it would be really useful for people to realize that when we are stressed, we feel that the cloud is a reality that is going to affect us, that we're under threat, and that it exists, and that we can't see past that. It's an opaque cloud. Once we learn that there's a long-term future, and we do that by starting to imagine, so we do what we want, what we can to create the future that we want, we can start taking steps from now. The cloud becomes thinner and more transparent as we move through. So I think we don't know how long we can be in isolation, but we do know that there are those courses that we can take that are online, the fitness videos that we can do with our children online, and these are all positive ways that actually thin that cloud.
Yes, this is very powerful. Thank you. I do believe we're going to have another interview. There's so much more to add to this, how people can help themselves. I'm sure you can give us more tips and more tools to use. And this is part of the new system, this is going to be available for everyone online and easily. And I think this is the new way of living, where we're learning how to share so much more through the system, through the web. Rania, thank you so much. It's been very, very helpful and very powerful.
Thank you very much.
I myself, I'm going to re-listen a couple of times because I picked up a few things that will help me. And I would really love to talk to you again, and so we can help people more.
Thank you very much, Myrette.
Thank you.